Children, I hope you all are fine. Now, last class we read about the different body parts of an insect. We read about the social insects. So, today we will continue the chapter more about insects. Today we are going to learn about the life cycle of a butterfly, the usefulness and the harmfulness of a butterfly. So, now, life cycle. What is life cycle? Life cycle is a series of changes through which an organism passes its life. So it's a process. It's a series of changes through which every organism passes its life. Now, butterfly. Butterfly is an insect we all know. So butterfly also has its own life cycle. There are different stages. So let's look at these different stages. The first stage is that the butterfly lay eggs. So the first stage we see it lays eggs. So butterflies lay eggs first thing. The second thing is that the second stage is that when these eggs hatch, what comes out? A larva. A larva called caterpillar comes out in the second stage. Now, after the second stage, what happens in the third stage? Now, when the caterpillar comes out in the second stage from this larva, it feeds on green leaves. You will find them on green leaves. And it feeds on those green leaves and they grow in size. Now, the next stage is that the caterpillar builds a cocoon around itself. What it builds? It builds a cocoon around itself. And this is the pupa stage. And the fourth stage is the butterfly comes up from this cocoon and they become adult. Now we can see that a butterfly has 4 stages of life. First, they lay eggs. Second is the larva stage. Third is the pupa stage. And the final stage is the adult stage. So, a butterfly goes through 4 stages of life cycle. I hope it is clear to you, children. Now, next is how insects are useful to us. Now, there are different insects who are very useful to us, and there are insects who are harmful to us also. Now, insects like like bee, silkworms, and there are more who are very useful to us. Now, like honey, you have all tasted honey. So we get honey from bees. So not only honey, we also get other products like crayons. You all use crayon colors. So this crayons we get from the bee wax. And from where do we get this bee wax? We get it from the beehives. So bees not only give us honey, but also we can make useful products like crayons. We can make some skin products. We can make some candles. We all use candles at home, so we make candles. So these are the different type of products that we get from bee wax. So bees are very useful to us. Now, the next insect that is useful to us is the silk worms. Now, these silkworms, they give us silk. What do we get from them? They give us silk. So, the third usefulness of insect is there are different insects who help us in the dispersal of seeds of plants. So they feed on certain fruits of the plants and they help us in dispersing the seeds, means scattering the seeds to different places. And what happens when these seeds are scattered? Now, when these seeds are scattered, new plants grow. So it is the seeds are scattered in different places. So when it is scattered in different places, that means new plants are growing up from in those places. New plants, we get new plants in those places. So this is how insects help us in dispersal of seeds. Now there are some insects who help us in cleaning the environment. Like, how do they help us in doing this? They feed on dead organisms. These dead organisms are, it can be dead plants or it can be dead animals also. So what they do? They feed on these dead organisms. So they feed on them, and this is how they help us in cleaning the environment. Now, so these are some of the usefulness of an insect. Now, there are insects, as I told you earlier, who are harmful to us. These insects damage our things like furniture, crops, books, food. They damage as well as they can cause diseases also. Now, for example, like we have locusts. Locust is a type of insect that feed on leaves and they damage the crops. There are bookworms we get. If the books are kept for years, you will find bookworms eating the pages of the books. Now, if you keep stale food, if you keep food for many days, it gets stale. So, can you eat that food? No. You will find bugs on that food, which is harmful for you. You can get diseases. Now, there are, we all have wooden things in at home. So, wooden cupboard we have, wooden desk we have. Now, what happens? Termites, insects like termites. Termites enter these wooden things and they damage our things. They can damage our clothes, they damage our furnitures. So how can we prevent these insects from damaging our things? Like for example, crops. Locusts damage all the crops. So what do farmers do? Farmers, they use chemicals like insecticides and pesticides. So what they do, when they apply these insecticides and pesticides, this chemical kills all the locusts or the insects that are damaging the crops. So this is how the crops can be prevented from being damaged by these locusts. Same way, at home you have wooden things at home. So what you can do, you have you can keep dried neem leaves. We all have seen neem leaves. So these neem leaves, you can keep it in your cupboard or underneath your clothes or between your clothes, so that your things are prevented from being damaged by these termites. We can use other things also, like naphthalene balls, and there are many other things with the help of which we can uh, kill all these insects that are damaging our things. So, children, today we learned about the life cycle of a butterfly. We learned about the usefulness, the harmfulness of an insect. So, I hope you have understood the entire chapter. Now, next session, we will continue with all the exercises and the question answers.